Hey guys, today is a big lesson. Today we're talking about factoring trinomials. Now this is something that you're going to use all throughout pre-calculus, calculus, into college algebra. Everything is going to be using factoring, and so we need to get really good at it. So make sure you're paying very close attention. Now we are factoring what are called trinomials. Trinomials. Now, a trinomial is like this: ax squared plus bx plus c. It has three terms: an x squared, an x, and a constant. And so we're going to follow these steps to factor out. So let's start right here on number 1, and let's go ahead and factor this one as completely as we can. Okay, now it says step number 1, factor out the GCF. Now, we practiced this yesterday. So my GCF, if I can learn to write things in the correct order, GCF is, well, it's kind of disappointing. There is no GCF here. Look, there's no variable in common. There's no number in common. So my GCF is none. There is no GCF. Womp womp. And so now, we are going to move on to, after we do our GCF, we label. Okay, after you do your GCF, label your A, B, and C. Now your A is always attached to your first one, your square. So my A is here. So we have A, my B is 5, and my C is 6. So my A is 1, my B is 5, and my C is 6. All right, step 2. Multiply the lead coefficient and the constant together. So multiply A and C together. Now, we're going to do this, and we're going to build this x. Because the method I'm teaching you to factor is with the x plus method. So we're going to build an x, and on top of this x, we are going to multiply A and C together. Now, A is 1 and C is 6, so we're going to have a 6 here. Okay? And my B is 5. So we're going to have a 5 down here on the bottom. So we put our A times C on top, B on bottom. Now, if you didn't get yesterday's lesson, make sure you go watch that video, because using this x is just like what we were practicing yesterday. The two numbers on the side are going to multiply to the top and add to the bottom. So let's see here. I'm going to draw like a little T-chart like we did yesterday, and this is going to be my top number, and this is going to be the sum of those two numbers. So we're thinking of a number that multiplies to 6 and adds to sum. So this is going to be first one, 6 and 1. 6 and 1 is not, 6 times 1 does not equal 5 when we add it together. That's 7. Okay, what about 3 times 2? Heck yes, 3 times 2, add those together, and we get 5. So 3 and 2 are the right things, because 3 times 2 is 6, 3 plus 2 is 5. Now, I now need to do the plus sign. It is the x plus method after all. So, what do we plug into our plus sign? Well, on the left side of the plus sign, we plug in whatever my A is with whatever my variable is. So, it's going to be A, which is 1, so it's going to be A, 1p. 1p. Now, the same numbers that we got in my x is going to go into my plus sign. So we're going to have a 3 and a 2. Those are right from over here. So these are my factors: p plus 3 and p plus 2. Simple as that. Now we also, step 5, reduce across the top or bottom if possible. But we don't have to reduce here. I'll show you that on the next problem. So my factors are going to be p plus 3 and p plus 2. Awesome. Okay, so now let's move on to number 2. So number 2, we're going to find the factors of 6x squared plus 21x plus 18. All right. First step, always with factoring, is look for a greatest common factor. So we're going to go over here, and we're going to look for a GCF. Now my GCF, it's going to be 3. 3 goes into 6, 3 goes into 21, 3 goes into 18. and nothing bigger goes into all three. So my GCF is going to be 3. So we're going to divide this by 3, divide this by 3, and divide this by 3. And we're going to write out 3 times 6x squared divided by 3 is 2x squared. 21 divided by 3 is 7x, and 18 divided by 3 is 6. Okay, so now, after you do your GCF, label. So my labels are going to be, this is going to be A, so 2 is A, B is 7, and 6 is C. So there we have it. A is 2, B is 7, and C is 6. So I can go over here and I can make my X. Remember, on top of your X is A times C. So on top of my X, we go 6 times 2 is 12. Guys, a mistake I see a lot of students make is they think this 3 is your A. No. Your A has to be attached to your X squared, or whatever your variable is squared. That 3, we're just kind of ignoring it till the end. We pull it out at the start and we ignore it till the end. Okay, so we have a 12 on top, and then my B on bottom, B bottom, see? Pretty easy, is 7. Okay, so now I have to think of two numbers that multiply to equal 12 and add to equal 7. I'm going to help you with this one. This one is 4 and 3. 4 times 3 is 12. 4 plus 3 is 7. So whenever I make my X over here, not my X, my plus. Whenever I make my plus over here, remember, what goes on the left side is AX. AX, so we're going to get 2x here and a 2x here. But what goes on my right is going to be a 3 and a 4, because it's the same numbers that we found over on this side. Okay, so now we are going to be like, okay, 2x plus 3. We check and see if it reduces. 2x plus 3 doesn't reduce. So that's just going to be my first one, 2x plus 3. However, 2x plus 4 does reduce. 2x plus 4, I can reduce this one because both of these are divisible by 2, right? I could divide this by 2 and divide this by 2, and it would simplify. And so this one's going to simplify to be x plus 2. You simplify it just like a fraction, okay? Just like a fraction. If they have something in common, you divide it out, and then you get your factor. So my second factor is going to be x plus 2. All right, something that's very important is you can check yourself really easy to see if your answer makes sense. Multiply your first ones together, 2x and x, makes 2x squared, and multiply your last ones together. 3 and 2, hey, that makes 6. So this one checks out, and those are my factors. All right, let's move on to number 3. So number 3, first step, always, always, always is look for that GCF. So we are going to look for a GCF. So my GCF, first, we're going to pull out a, looks like we've got a lot going on here. Well, we have this -3, 15, and 18. So my GCF there is 3. But each of these also have a y in common. So we're going to pull out a y. But then I want to remind you, when pulling out a GCF, never leave a leading term negative. So since my leading one is negative, we can't have that. It will not work. So we're also going to need to pull out a negative. So we're going to divide this by a -3y, divide this one by a -3y, divide this one by a -3y, and we're just going to pull it out. So we're going to have -3y times positive y squared plus 5y plus 6. Okay, then let's label our A, B, and C. So remember, we have a divisible 1 right there, so that's going to be my A, that's going to be my B, that's going to be my C. So we'll build my X here. Remember, on top of your X goes A times C, on bottom is B. So A times C is 6. B is 5. Now I'm once again going to help you out on this one. Two numbers that multiply to equal 6 and add to equal 5. It's just like number 1. 3 times 2. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 plus 2 is 5. So then we build out my plus sign. We're going to put AY, so it's just going to be 1Y, and my two things, 3 and 2. And we check and see, can they reduce as we pull them out? Well, Y plus 3, that doesn't have anything in common, so that's just Y plus 3. Y plus 2, nope, nothing in common, so we just write Y plus 2, and then we're going to have a negative 3Y in front. Okay? So that's kind of the gist of it. Let's turn the page. Let's finish this out. Okay, so number 4 on the second page. We have 18x squared minus 24x minus 10. First step, always look for a GCF. And in this case, my GCF is 2. 2 goes into each one of these. So we're going to go, okay, divide each one of these by 2. Don't have to worry about a negative in front or anything like that. So this is going to be 9x squared minus 12x minus 5. Then we're going to build my x. And we're going to put on top a times c, because we didn't really label here, did we? But I'm going to do it real quick. My a is 9. My b is negative 12, and my c is negative 5. So a times c, 9 times negative 5. We're going to put a times c is going to be negative 45. And on bottom is my b, which is negative 12. Okay, this one's a bit more difficult. I have to think of two numbers that multiply into negative 45, but add to negative 12. What can I do to do this? Well, let's build our chart here. We're going to go negative 45 on this side, sum on this side. So two numbers that multiply to equal that, and then we're going to add on the other side. So let's see here. We could do negative 9 and 5. That just adds up to be negative 4. What about 5 and negative 9? That makes negative 45. No, that just makes, negative 5 and positive 9. That just makes positive 4. What about negative 15 and 3? Oh, jackpot. That makes negative 12. So there's going to be my two factors, negative 15 and 3. So now I can make my plus sign, and in the top left of my plus, I can write AX. Oh, sorry, I forgot. Remember, we have the 2 out in front here, right? That's my GCF, okay? We can't just divide everything. We have to pull it out. All right, so anyways, my A is 9. So we're going to go 9x, and my two numbers, we're going to have negative 15, and I'm going to have 3. All right, then we look and see if they can reduce. Well, good news. This one can reduce. 3 goes into both of these. So we can divide both of these by 3, and it's going to make 3x minus 5. Same thing goes here. I can divide both of these by 3, and that's going to make 3x plus 1. Perfect. Now I can rewrite these factors. Don't forget your GCF in front, and we can rewrite 3x minus 5 times 3x plus 1, and we can check and see if it works out. 3x times 3x is 9x squared. Negative 5 times 1 is negative 5. Would you look at that? All right. Now let's try number 5. So number 5. First, we look and see, is there a GCF? And there is not. Right? 5, 13, 6, there is no GCF. So I don't have to worry about that step. Next, we label, right? So we're going to go, this is A, this is B, this is C. So my A is 5, my B is negative 13, and my C is 6. Then I can make my X and my plus. X and plus. Okay. So then, let's see here. My X. On top of my x, we go a times c. On bottom, we have b. A times c, 5 times 6 is 30, and my b is negative 13. So, two numbers that multiply to equal 30 and add to equal a negative 13. Let's go over to the side here. Let's think what we could have. We could have a negative 15 and a negative 2. Negative 15 times a negative 2 makes a positive 30, but adding them together makes a negative 17. What else could it be? Well, I guess it could be negative 5 and negative 6. Well, negative 5 plus negative 6 is negative 11. Oh, I know. Negative 10 and negative 3. Negative 10 times negative 3 makes a positive 30, but it makes a negative 13. So this one's going to be negative 10 and negative 3. So now when I make my plus, we have a times m, a times m, and we're going to plug in negative 10 and negative 3. All right. Well, we had no GCF, so none of that's worried about, but my first factor is going to be here. 5m minus 3. There's my first factor. And my next factor is going to be, oh wait, this can simplify. I can divide this by 5 and divide this by 5, and that would make instead m minus 2. So my next factor is going to be m minus 2. Then we're going to check. Negative 3 times negative 2 is a positive 6. 5m times m is a 5m squared. So this is my correct factors. All right, guys, last problem today, number 6. Factor this one completely. First step, always, 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 let's look for the GCF. For this one, my GCF is going to be 4. So we're going to pull out a 4. So we're going to divide this by 4, divide this by 4, divide this by 4. So it's going to be 4 times x squared plus 5 minus, 20 divided by 4 is going to be, 200 divided by 4 is going to be 50. Okay, so now we have my GCF. Let's label this. This is my A, B, C. My A is 1, my B is 5, and my C is negative 50. So I can now make my x. On top of my x, a times c is negative 50. On bottom is 5. Two numbers that multiply to negative 50 but add to 5. That's a thinker, isn't it? Okay, so negative 50 and 5. What about 25 and 2? Negative 2. To make a negative 50. No, that makes 23. What about, oh, I know. What about 10 and negative 5? 10 times negative 5 is a positive 5 when we add it back together, so that one works. So my answer is going to be 10 and negative 5. So now, when I draw my plus sign, AX, remember, 4 is not your A. Your A is the number attached to x squared. So we're going to go x, 1x, 1x, and then my two numbers, 10, 10, and negative 5. Do either of these reduce? No. So my factor is going to be my GCF times x plus 10 times x minus 5. Just like that. All right, so there you have it, and there is your answer. All right, guys, make sure you let me know if you have any questions. Remember, your steps to factoring should all be right here. This is very important. Please try your best on the homework, and as always, have a great rest of your day.